cactus and succulent growers, it's Lynn. And in today's video, this is going to be about what to look for when you're buying a cactus. And this was actually a question from my wonderful subscriber Benny, who wanted to know what to look for when you're buying a cactus. It's actually a question for my upcoming September Q&A video, and it's a bit of a long question to answer in that, so I'm actually going to do this as a separate video, and hopefully I should get to do the September Q&A video within the next 2 weeks. It's been very hot and sunny here in Ireland and the UK, and I've got a lot to do for that upcoming video, so do stay tuned for it. Hopefully it'll be up within the next couple of weeks. So what to look for when you're buying a cactus? Well, first of all, this is going to be about when you're buying a cactus from a shop, such as a garden centre, a supermarket, or any of the other stores where they sell cacti. Online, when you're buying cacti online, it's a completely different thing because it does depend on many other things. This is purely about when you're buying cacti in the shops when you're out and about. Now, the first thing you need to look out for is obviously check for any signs of pests. Does the cactus look healthy? And I would avoid getting any cactus plants that look like they're going yellow and sickly coloured. Some cacti are meant to be yellow, such as this Perodia here, as they're meant to have the yellow appearance to them with the lovely spines. But many other cacti, if they're going yellow, it can be a sign that they're virused, and I would avoid any that's not meant to be yellow. And also check there's no signs of brown spots on there, and also signs of rot. Always check the cactus from the base as well. Natural corking is normal to get on older cactus plants, so this is completely normal, and you will know by sort of pressing your finger on it as well to check. Don't be afraid to lift up the cactus that you're interested in buying, because you do have to have a good look at the cactus. Check for signs of mealybugs and other type of pests on the cactus. And mealybugs will look like, I'll just show you here in this photograph, little bits of white deposits of nests. And avoid any that have mealybugs, because you might think, oh, I can treat it when I get it home, but sometimes the cactus has already been under attack from the mealybug, and it can suddenly decline when you take it back in your care. So the cactus has to be pest free. Bring a little magnifying glass with you to the garden store or the shop you want to buy the cactus, and check for any. Also, I'd recommend lifting the cactus up as well. Lift the cactus up, check under the pot that there's no signs of root mealybugs. Root mealybugs will have like a big white deposit, and by the way, that bit of white there is diatomaceae acer. I sprinkle it on all of the trays to prevent root mealybugs, but check there's no bits of white deposits all underneath. You will see all the white sort of powdery fluff underneath from root mealybugs, and check around the base of the cactus as well, because this is where a lot of mealybugs will love to hide. And quite often when you're buying cactus from shops, they'll often be in lovely flashy pots and top dressed, and it can hide a multiple of sins, so do sort of scrape away at the very base and check for that. It's really important. The next thing will be check that there's no signs of stretched out growth. And by that I mean etiolation, and this is when a cactus plant has been stretched, it's growing stretched due to lack of light, or sometimes it could even be too much heat in the shop and too much fertilizer as well, but it's nearly always down to lack of light when buying cacti from the stores. And you have to avoid plants that have got this etiolation, because they don't correct this when you bring it back. When you put it back and you put it into a nice sunny position, it's getting plenty of light, the cactus will then try and grow into its original shape, and it's going to be disfigured, so completely avoid it. And talking of lack of light, one of the most important things you need to be aware of when you're buying from a lot of these shops is how long has the cactus been there. Now, if you're buying cactus plants and they're in a very bright position, such as they're close to a natural window getting plenty of light, or you happen to be at a garden centre where it has grow lights, and you know that the cactus plant has been receiving plenty of natural or artificial LED plant grow light during the time it's been at the shop, then that's fine. But if you find that your cactus, the cactus you like or you want to buy, is in a dark position in the shop, and they nearly always are, they're usually put under shelves where they're not getting any light at all, or completely fake fluorescent lighting. And you want to know how long that cactus has been there, because although it can look quite healthy, when you bring it back and you put it into your own environment, a lot of these plants that have suffered from lack of light for a long time will suddenly, after a few weeks, the damage will come out and start to show, and the plant will suddenly decline. So don't be scared to ask the staff at the shop, how long has this cactus been here? When did you have your delivery? And if it's any longer than 2 months, I would avoid it. And the reason for that is because, as I mentioned, if it's been 2 months sitting in a dark position in the shop and you bring it back, your cactus plant can go in decline. So avoid that. Now, if it's been there 2 months or more and it's in a bright natural position, or plenty of bright fluorescent LED plant grow lights, shouldn't be a problem at all. But bear in mind, when you bring a cactus back into your own environment and it has been in a more shadier position, it needs to acclimatise. So don't just put it straight out into a sunny position in your garden, greenhouse, or your window until it's acclimatised a bit more. The next one will be if you're buying a cactus in winter. And funny enough, I always seem to find that there's more cactus plants for sale in the winter than actually is in the summer for some reason. But if you do, you want to make sure that the soil is dry, because I have gone to so many garden centres and they've had beautiful cacti and the soil is soaking wet in the middle of December, January, and the plant might look okay, but when you bring it back, the chances are it's going to rot, because cactus plants like to have a winter rest period and kept dry during the winter months. So if it's a desert cacti you're interested in buying and the soil is wet, then avoid it. As much as you're tempted to buy it, I would avoid it, because it could definitely rot when you bring it home. Now, this is different to the epiphytic cacti such as the ripsalis and the Christmas cacti and Thanksgiving cacti such as these, because they do need to still be watered. So if you buy this during the Christmas time, for example, or the winter, it's no problem if it's watered. In fact, it does need to be watered. This is very different to the desert types of cacti that have to be dry. So avoid any that's sitting there in wet soil. And the next thing will be is flowering. It's quite unusual to find a cactus that is in flower at a garden centre, especially if it's been at the garden centre for a while. And it's not unusual to see them in bud. Quite often cactus plants that have come from the nurseries into these garden shops, they'll often be in bud because they want to encourage you to buy it, and there's no problem with that. It's a sign that the cactus plant hasn't probably been sitting there too long either, because they nearly always drop the buds if they've been at a garden centre in a shady spot for too long. However, in my experience anyway, if you go and you see a cactus plant and it's actually flowering, lovely colourful bright flowers, I hate to say it, guys, the chances are they're going to be fake, because so many cacti are sold in garden centres with them horrible fake straw flowers, and they're either pinned right through the cactus plant or they're glued onto the cactus plant. And if you're very careful, if you really like the cactus and you think, oh, they're fake flowers, but I love this cactus, and you take it back and you're very careful with peeling off the usually rubbery glue if they're glued on, you can be okay. It can be okay. The cactus can recover. But if it's one of the ones where the pins are through it and you have to take the pin out to remove the fake flowers, then sadly infection can get in and the cactus plant nearly always sort of dies off. And I like to avoid cactus plants with fake flowers on them anyway, because I don't like to support an industry that I don't like. I don't like it when they stick fake things on flowers or they spray paint them with artificial paint and all this glitter and all that. I see it all the time at the garden centres and I really hate it. That's just my opinion. I think cacti should be natural, so avoid any artificially coloured, painted or faked flowered cactus plants for sale. Now the last one, and this isn't necessarily a problem, is, as I was mentioning about lifting up the cactus and checking under the pot to check there's no signs of bugs and things, it's very common to see cacti for sale where the roots are coming through the pot. That's not necessarily a problem. You know, it wouldn't stop me from buying a cactus, especially if I can see the roots are healthy coming through. Remove the cactus from its pot and repot it. And I always like to repot newly bought cacti because they're nearly always potted up in horrible soil, if you can call it soil. Usually it's just pure peat, and cactus plants do not do well in that. So that's why I like to repot newly bought cacti. But it can also depend on the time of year you buy your cactus as well. And I've made a whole video on should you repot newly bought cacti, and I explain a lot of the reasons in there about when you should repot after you've bought a cactus. So do check that video out. Links to that video will be up above and down below in the video description. So then, that hope you found that enjoyable and hopefully informative as well, should you be out and about in your travels and you want to buy cactus. So just do bear them little points in mind. It's absolutely scorching day today, and having the sunshine at last, so happy days. So thank you so much for watching, everyone. For lots more tips and tricks, don't forget to subscribe. Do click the notification bell. You can also follow me on Instagram, Twitter and Facebook at Desert Plants of Avalon. And do check out my website, desertplantsofavalon.com. I want to wish you all a fantastic cactus shopping powered day.